we prefer to beat people's in with a sledgehammer, but with a smile.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now. John, thank you so much for your time today. Another Raven release, a special, different kind of release that is coming out right now. A bit of a compilation, maybe an anthology of the Steam Hammer days, if you will. If for nothing else, the fact that we get to see the hilarious, or listen to the hilarious Malice in Geordieland, but also fun songs like Rock This Town, on their own, you know, create a lot of value for the fans. Was it fun to kind of release these songs that couldn't find their proper way on regular albums, if you will?
Yeah, it was. You know, it's a transitional album where, you know, we are moving on to another company, but you know, SPV been very good to us over the last 10, 15 years now, and we thought it was a great idea for, you know, the last release we put out with them to be this compilation, and look back, and a way to put all the extra tracks, the Japanese extra tracks and the Brazilian extra tracks, and to do that. And we did have a great live version of Stay Hard, which was recorded back in 2017 on Mike's first US tour with us. And, you know, that was one of those songs at random. Let's play Stay Hard. We haven't played it in, whatever, 10,000 years or whatever. And it was a great version. We said, oh, wow, let's use this poor little orphan. Let's find it a good home. The album cover was, I think it's been enhanced ever so slightly, but we played on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and Mark cut his hand during the gig and there was blood all over the guitar. And a couple of people very smartly took a few photographs of that, going, oh, it looks kind of cool.
Obviously, there's a massive back catalog. We'll get back to that in just a second. But some of the songs that are on this new compilation, some of the stronger songs, or maybe your favorite songs of the newer albums. I'm thinking about Top of the Mountain. I'm thinking about The Power. We've seen you guys also play these songs live a lot. You're not a band that, although I think you will always go back to your first 3 albums at every show to some extent. But I saw you guys play last time at the Alcatraz Festival in 2021. I saw a lot of young people there that were not born when the first 3 albums were released. You want to give them new material?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we've got, like you say, we've got this back catalogue, we've got this history, we've got this legacy, blah, blah, blah. But we're a vibrant band who's creating constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. I mean, for ExtermiNation, we had 30 odd songs written. For this new one, I mean, for Metal City, the same thing. For this new one coming up, the same thing. We write an awful lot of songs. We're very critical. And, you know, we get a great deal of enjoyment out of creating new music. And although we love the old stuff, it's always a benchmark to say, can we beat this? You know, you've got that thing in people's heads that when they're in a certain period of their life and they hear some kind of music and they love it, that's locked in your head as like your favorite. And it's very hard to dislodge that.
Right.
But we do pretty well at trying to.
Well, and it's also, you know, especially when you look at these festivals. I mean, I've seen you play many festivals. You know, I'm calling you from Canada right now, but I grew up in Belgium, so I saw you play at Grass Pop Metal Meeting and those things. A lot of people will will discover you there for the first time that are newer to the world of metal, that have predominantly listened to maybe more modern bands, and that will discover you there. And so for the average festival goer, a song like The Power is just as exciting as Crash Bang Wallop or what have you, right? For me personally, go for it. Yeah, sorry if you wanted to comment.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and we, put a set list together that way. So it's you've got the old rubbing up against the new, and for the uninitiated, it's just boom, there's the band. And for the people who are the diehard fans from 1846 or what have you, it's like, oh, I get to hear some of my favorites, and maybe I've never heard this one. I mean, that was cool about the whole Metal City thing, where we were playing Top of the Mountain long before it was recorded,
right? Just
to get an honest reaction, and it was like, yeah, we're on track. This is good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely if Top of the Mountain, I think if there's one song that could be like the anthem for the band in the last, let's say, decade, maybe even last 2 decades, that song definitely would be one of my picks, and fun to see it on this compilation, obviously, as well. You've got to come to the top of the mountain. My journey with Raven started probably somewhere in the mid-90s, where I picked up, when there were still album stores and you could still buy CDs, and I picked up.
They're coming back. They're coming back slowly, but yeah.
As long as the vinyl shortage is there, the CDs are selling again. I picked up a compilation album that had one song by Raven. That song was "Break the Chain" from your 1983 EP, and that was my introduction to the band. You mentioned the uninitiated. For your perspective, whether that is a newer or an older, because you guys have been working on this band for almost 50 years now, what would be that perfect introduction song to Raven for somebody who's not had a chance to hear or see you yet?
Well, I would have thought that of the early stuff. I mean, the first single still holds up. "Don't Need Your Money." It pretty much sums up what the band's about, with the energy, the excitement, the positivity, as it were. There's a lot of metal that's very, it's cool to be dark and miserable and depressed, and we very rarely are, so it doesn't really reflect in our music. We prefer to beat people's in with a sledgehammer, but with a smile, and with manners. May I hit you on the head? Okay, cool. So, and of the newer stuff, "Top of the Mountain" is a great example of a song that's kind of got its foot in both camps. It's definitely grounded in what we've done, but it also pushes boundaries with, pushes the envelope with where we're going, as it were, so it seemed a perfect song to basically introduce Mike, as it were, when we were, doing those tours back in 2017, 18, before the record came out.
Rich fat daddy trying to change my life when I just want to relax.
One of my good friends is the drummer of Belgian band Ostrogoth, Mario Pauwels, who has played with you before. And he's not just maybe not just a peer, but also a big fan of Raven. And he keeps telling me the story that you guys have to non-stop correct people asking about, hey, you guys opened for Metallica back in the days, but that it really was the other way around.
I got that one. That one kind of gets up my nose occasionally. And there's always revisionist history. Yeah, you remember when you guys opened for Metallica? I goes, no. What do you mean? I don't. And you just string it out a little longer. It goes, do your due diligence here. Do some research.
The past is always fun, and we could talk for hours about the past. But I want to look at the present and the future with you guys. Obviously, the core of the band has been you and your brother, and then over the years we've seen. Well, in the beginning there was an additional guitar player as well, but the band is a three-piece now, and we've seen some drummers come and go. You've got Mike in the band with you now for the last, I'm gonna say, what, 4 years, maybe 5.
Oh, geez, 5.
Yeah,
just over 5 at this point. Yeah.
Exactly. Great drummer. Unfortunately, also a very popular drummer and a very busy drummer. I think Mike plays in more bands than a lot of other people combined. And is has a lot of work outside of bands as well. Is that then at times, was that a conversation that you had to have when Mike joined those years ago, that hey, this is what we do expect from a commitment?
Yeah, I mean, and he is fully committed. It's like, where is #1 commitment? And if we're not doing anything, he's free to do pretty much whatever he wants, which is, it's good for him as a musician, because he put an album out with this, I can't remember the act. It's a very crazy progressive thing from Japan that came out recently. It's absolutely, totally divorced from what we do. And then of course there's all the black metal or death metal odds and ends that he'll be doing here and there. And, those things keep you fresh as a musician, the challenges. Right. It's awesome with that. So no, we've got no problem with that. He's, since day one, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's full of energy. He's full of enthusiasm. He's always the guy that's like, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Like, let's try this. Let's try this. He's, he's got his fingers in everything. It's like, oh, artwork. Yeah, let's try that. And, t-shirts. Yes, I want to do it. It's great to have somebody with the get up and go to kick us all farts up the arse.
Right now, we come across very laid back and calm and reserved. We see a different John when you get on that stage. We've seen you have drummers that stayed around for a long time. You've had drummers that were only, short time with you. Does it require a special kind of person to take both of you on and complete the threesome?
Yeah, I mean, it's the chemistry of a three-piece is a strange thing, but it has to be a chemistry. It has to work. Mm-hmm. I mean, it gets harder the more people are in a band. It starts splitting into fractions. It's like, oh, those 3, I hate those 9 people, or whatever. Imagine a band like Chicago. There's like probably 6 camps in them, or whatever. So that's a huge consideration that people might not think about too often. That is, you've got to be compatible. You've got to be able to kind of get along, because it's worse than a marriage. You're like literally in each other's pockets, 24 hours a day for sometimes months on end. So that's got to work. And musically, there's got to be that chemistry. And you don't often find that.
So with all this in mind and that longevity and what you said, like, okay, in a band, even more than a marriage, you're really with each other.
But not in the biblical sense. Well.
Sorry?
But not in the biblical sense. I draw the line there, yeah.
Good. So I have a brother as well. So I was wondering, for you mentioned it earlier, like, we've been around for a long time. It's been almost 50 years since the band was founded. What's the biggest surprise for you, that after almost 50 years you're still doing it, or that you're able to do this with your brother without killing each other? Because I know that if me and my brother would do this, that would not work out.
No, that part's never been an issue. I think we fought like kids usually do until we started playing instruments. Then we took it out on the instruments. So the instruments get battered and broken instead of we do. It works out far easier. But yeah, that's something that's a constant surprise, and it's always very humbling that we're in this position to do what we love to do it well and to do it for so long and have people want to come out and see us. And, you know, we're very, very lucky people, and we never let go of that. And as you get older, you appreciate it more. And, you know, we were always from day one a band that it was, every gig was like the last gig you'll ever play. Do it right, 100%. So now even more so, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, on that very inspirational note, if you will, or humbling note, before we wrap it up, I know we're probably a little early in that cycle, but we know that a tour is coming. We know that an album is coming next year as well. What can you share with all the fans watching this video already today?
Well, in 1 week, we go out here in the States and we're doing a 42-day tour with about 2 days off in the middle of it. And it's going to be, we're playing the Wiped Out album in its entirety, which seemed like a fun thing to do since, you know, once you start hitting 40-year anniversaries, it's like, yeah, let's do that. So that's been fun revisiting that. There was like 3 or 4 songs we never played live. So dusting off that, finding out which lines of the lyrics I don't remember and trying to remember them and getting through that. Next year we've got a cruise with Chris Jericho, the wrestler. He has a wrestling cruise and he's asked us to play that. That's different, so that's going to be cool. We also have a big show announcement at the end of the tour that we're doing here that I can't say anything about, but it's a big show for us, definitely. More to follow, so a big announcement coming up on that one. Yeah. And next year we're going to the United Kingdom, our home country of Blighty, and we'll be doing the All for One, because then, you know, 23 is the 40th anniversary of All for One.
Yeah.
Which is considerably easier because there was only 2 songs we never played live off that. And I think Mike already knows about 5 or 6 of them to start with. So
yeah,
that'll be easy. And festivals, we're looking at Australia and Japan. We just did Brazil last weekend? I get lost. Yeah, last weekend we played a festival in Sao Paulo. So looking to go back there, you know, on a bigger scheme back to South America and Europe. We want to do dates in Europe, and we've got the All for One thing, which probably tailor-made for festivals.
Right.
And the new album will be coming out in May. New album's recorded. We're in the middle of mixing. It sounds great, so I'm really happy about that. So yeah, we did it again.
Be a very quiet, calm year for you, basically.
Oh yeah, just another old age pensioner's dream.
Awesome. Well, John, I want to thank you so much for your time. I wish we could, you know, spend a lot more time, but I know that you're on a schedule, and I look forward to when we can have another conversation when those tours are about to come up and when we can talk in more detail about the upcoming.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hit me up then. Do that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you guys play on the stage in the next few months.
Yeah, can't wait.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.